What is up, fellow fight fans, UFC fans? This is President Dana White. Okay, sorry. How are you guys doing? I have not posted a YouTube video in, I think, 6 months, 7 months? It's crazy. I've been really grinding the TikTok, so if you guys somehow subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't follow the TikTok, I actually got a decent amount of followers on there. Not really. Still trying to make a name for myself, but anyways, let's talk about just some end of the year predictions and stuff like that, just so I can get it on YouTube and just kind of give you guys my thoughts. So we just got done with the UFC 308. Okay, ILIA TOPURIA knocks out Max Holloway in the third round. Crazy win. ILIA TOPURIA is just skyrocketing to the top of so many lists, you know. Featherweight GOAT list, pound for pound list, everything. That guy is crazy right now. He's knocking out legends. And people will discredit some of his wins here, especially against Volk. They really discredit that win, saying how he just came off a KO loss, and then now that he just KO'd Max Holloway, they've been pretty silent about it. So it's just interesting to see how they just switch up like that, which is crazy, right? Just crazy. But anyways, ILIA TOPURIA looks like a fucking Terminator. An absolute Terminator. And me personally, I don't want to see him fight Volk, but I want to see Volk. I also want to see Volk get a title back. And look, this is insurmountable odds, and people are giving me shit already for saying that they should do Volk in ILIA too. Look, Volk's going to have a whole year layoff. He deserves that fight. There's a good chance of him getting knocked out, absolutely. But I want to see him in a title fight again. I still think he's top level. Look, he lost to Islam and TOPURIA, who I think are the two best fighters right now on the roster. And it's like, how can you not give a guy like Volk another title shot? And I know they will. And it's going to be controversial because people either want to see him fight TOPURIA, fight Diego Lopez or Islam Makhachev. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing those fights. I want to see ILIA TOPURIA fight whenever. I mean, that guy is so fun to watch. And he's doing such a good job at promoting himself now that he's turning into one of the biggest stars in the UFC. He's turning into what a lot of people thought he would be. And I was really on the bandwagon right after the Bryce Mitchell fight. Right? I knew who he was. I wasn't the biggest fan. And then he just steamrolled Bryce Mitchell. I'm like, this guy is for real. This guy is absolutely for real. And then he goes out there and gives Josh Emmett probably the worst beating I've ever seen. Right? He didn't finish Josh Emmett. That just goes to show you that Josh Emmett is fucking tough as shit. Right? So regardless of what you think about ILIA TOPURIA's previous wins, you cannot deny right now he's not one of the best fighters in the world. I personally have him at number 2. You can put him top 4. Doesn't really matter to me. I think he surpassed Alex Pereira on the pound-for-pound list. Look, Pereira's done a lot of good things in the UFC. He's gotten a lot of good wins, but they just don't match up to TOPURIA's. You know, TOPURIA is really going out there and beating so many good guys. And I think he's got a chance to beat Makhachev. I'm not saying he's gonna have a good chance, but he's got a chance. And I think people are gonna really, really hone or ask for that fight, and I think it should happen. And until we see something about a title fight with Volkanovski or Diego Lopez, I'm just gonna assume that they're gonna try to get the Islam fight done. Why not? Have it in Spain, have it in Abu Dhabi again, have it anywhere, literally anywhere. I want to see that fight right now. It's my most anticipated fight. And of course, you guys know that TOPURIA versus Holloway was my most anticipated fight since Islam Volk won. It's surprising that my last 2 anticipated fights had Islam and TOPURIA in it, and it's just fitting that they both fight each other now. And it's like Volkanovski with power. That's what TOPURIA reminds me of, because he's so skilled on the feet and has such a good ground game that he reminds you of Volkanovski. But instead of the output, he replaces it with power, and he's younger. So that will be a very interesting. You guys know how highly I think of Islam Makhachev. I think he's the greatest fighter right now in the sport. I've had to cut this video off so many times. Full storage on the phone. Why the hell do iPhones have 0 storage on them? At all times. Never have any storage when I'm trying to record these videos. But anyways, I'm in traffic right now just talking about nonsense. But I think if they do that fight, I don't know, man. I think Islam would win the fight by decision. I think he could just take down TOPURIA when he wanted to and just mitigate any of that risk of being knocked out. I can't turn here. But yeah, I think that'd be a very interesting fight. I'd love to see it, but we probably won't get it. So don't get your hopes up too much, because more than likely we just will not see that fight. Because the UFC, they like to put on big fights. They never put on the big fights that everyone wants to see. You know, out of the weight class divisions. They put on Volk Islam, right? But that was when Islam was just a champion. Usually when a guy's moving up, they usually have to have a couple title defenses to do that against a new champion, right? That's how it's always gone. That's why I'm doubting that it's going to happen. But they definitely should, because that would be the greatest fight that they could put in the promotion. But as for Max Holloway, I think he should fight Dan Hooker. I think if he fights Dan Hooker deserves a top 5 fight. And I think, okay, do you put him against Gaethje? Maybe, right? Do you put him against Poirier? I'd love to see that fight again, but I mean, last time it did not end too well for Hooker. I think if Max Holloway wants to go into lightweight, where I think, you know, it's a fresh start. He's 1-0 in that division now, you know, in the last how many years. Give him a top 6 guy. You know, he's ranked 5. Hooker deserves a top 5 fight. It's going to be a striking match. Both guys. I mean, you could put the BMF title on the line too, right? And the people saying they want to see Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier, give that fight some time. And I know DP's talking about who's got one last dance. He's been saying that for 8 fucking years now, okay? When are we going to believe him? I won't. So I want to see Gaethje, Poirier 3. I know people are not going to like that. But Poirier's 2-0 versus Holloway. And he's 1-1 with Gaethje. You know, and that fight just makes too much sense, I think. And people are just trying to make it more complicated than it is. Make those 2 fights. I absolutely love it. Now as it goes for Khamzat and Robert Whittaker, I want to see Khamzat fight DDP. The problem is Sean Strickland should get a title fight. He's been saying that he deserves one. I tend to think he does too. I think it was a close fight with him and DDP the first time, but he lost, right? He lost 3-2, maybe even 4-1. It was a competitive fight, one of the best fights of the year. But I think if you can squeeze in a DDP Sean Strickland title fight in the next 3-4 months, go ahead, do it. If not, get the hell out of here, Sean Strickland. I don't want to see that fight. Khamzat definitely deserves a title fight way more. He submitted Robert Whittaker, beat Kamaru Usman. You know, he's undefeated. And this guy's a huge star. And, you know, Strickland, all these decision wins where it's just not the most impressive performance. I just don't think he deserves it. And I think the fight with Khamzat and DDP would be electric. As it goes for Robert Whittaker, I think he should fight Nasruddin Imavov. I think Imavov deserves a top 5 guy, and I think Whittaker, he's still, you know, deserving of a big fight like it's Robert Whittaker, but I don't think he deserves a huge, you know, I think if he stays in the top 5 and fights a top 5 guy, okay, I'm fine with that. But make it be Nasruddin Imavov, because he deserves that fight. He deserves a top guy, and quit playing around with Nasruddin Imavov, dude. That guy's good, and I want to see him in big fights. They probably won't put him in a big fight anytime soon, but I think that's the fight to make. Robert Whittaker probably needs to take some time off. Nasruddin Imavov, he's a frequent fighter, and I don't think that fight's going to happen, but maybe tell Imavov, hey, title elimination fight, you versus Robert Whittaker. If you beat Robert Whittaker, you get a title shot. And I think I think Imavov would take some time off to prepare for that fight, and I think Whittaker probably needs some time off to prepare for that fight, and I think it'd be an interesting fight. You know, make it a 5-rounder, see where Imavov's gas tank is right now in his career, because he's looked good, right? He's looked good in a lot of his fights, and I want to see him fight a top contender. Magomed Ankalaev. Give him Alex Pereira. I think it's time. I think even before this, I thought he deserves it, especially over Khalil Roundtree. But now that he beat Rakic pretty convincingly, I think you got to do the fight. I think it's an amazing fight. I think people hate on Magomed Ankalaev because he's Russian, he's Dagestani, he's got the OV at the end of the name, he's got the brother accent. Look, quit pussyfooting around with him. Give him the title shot against Pereira. It'd be a great fight. Like, a lot of people have the thought that Magomed's just a wrestler. He's not a wrestler. He strikes in every single fight, and he does it for a majority of the fight. He only uses the takedowns when he's getting absolutely mauled on the feet. That's what makes it interesting with Alex Pereira. I want to see Pereira get tested by a really good grappler. And I know a lot of people are going to be cheering for Pereira, and I get it, and I will be too, but we can't just keep giving these undeserved people title shots against Pereira just because we want to have him be a champion. No, this is the promotion to put on the best fighters in the best fights. This is the best fight. If Alex loses, he loses. Okay, that's just the name of the game. Not every single popular fighter has to win every single fight. You know, if it was, this wouldn't be the UFC. It'd be the United Fighting Popular Championship. That was dumb, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm sick. I'm sick of this shit. Give him the title shot. And yeah, Rakic, I think he should fight Khalil Roundtree. I think that'd be a banger fight. Two pretty good strikers that probably won't grapple. I mean, Rakic might try to grapple, but let's be honest, he's probably going to want to test himself against Khalil Roundtree. He's been striking in every single fight. The only time he really grappled was against Anthony Smith, and look, Anthony Smith sucks. That was probably one of the worst fights I've seen. Completely ragdolled him. Didn't do much with it. Won a decision. Like, what more can you say about the guy? And yeah, Lerone Murphy, Arnold Allen. Oh, what am I doing? I've been sitting at this light forever. Oh my goodness. Oh my fucking goodness. People, if you don't know, you can turn right on a red light. And I was sitting there yapping for probably just 2 minutes right there. Oh, I'd be so pissed if I was behind me. I'm so sorry. That's why they say don't text and drive. Hey, I'm recording. I'm looking at the field. I just got distracted, okay? My bad. You know? That was really dumb. Really dumb of me. But anyways, Lerone Murphy, Arnold Allen, book that fight. Dan Ige, Gene Silva, Shar Magomedov, Michelle Pereira. That'd be a banger fight. Put that as a main event in Saudi Arabia. Armin Petrosian. I mean, I really don't care. Jeff Neal should fight Michael Morales. I think that'd be a good fight. Michael Morales needs to keep moving up the rankings. And look, Jeff Neal, he won. He was probably going to win, but wasn't decisive. He blew his knee out. So give him another contender. He's used to it. He's going to give him a tough fight. So I like that fight. Yeah, that's kind of it. UFC 308 was probably one of the best cards of the year outside of the UFC 300. Amazing finishes, good results. Like I said, I do like the early start times. Just depends on what I'm doing during the day. You know, if I have nothing going on at night, it kind of sucks. But, you know, it was Halloween weekend. I was going out with my friends. So it was really nice to have the early start at that time. And Abu Dhabi cards are always awesome. So, yeah. Remember, check out my TikTok page. I post there every single day, multiple videos a day, giving my thoughts on this stuff. I like to do longer forms once in a while. I haven't been particularly doing the best job at the YouTube videos, but I will try to get some in most of the time. You know, once I know that this thing could really last and I have a good following on TikTok, then I can transfer this over to YouTube. Because I started off with the YouTube, it started off hot, and then, you know, it's really tough to do it full time. So yeah, ready for UFC 309. John Jones is gonna fucking disintegrate Stipe. Charles is gonna win, and I'm leaning Bilal Muhammad against Shavkat Rakhmonov. All right, till next time, peace.